Hello everyone, this is Joe from Scarecrow Joe's studio. I know it's been a while, sorry about that, but we haven't gone anywhere, we're still around, and we're going to be filming a lot more tutorials that we have in store for you coming up. But in this particular tutorial, I'm going to show you how to repair broken or damaged paper mache sculptures. Well, accidents happen. So this is one accident here on my big guy. And I'm going to be repairing this broken stem on this guy. And then on this guy here, I'm going to be repairing this. So I have 3 examples of broken paper mache sculptures to share with you today. Okay, tools and materials that you are going to need for this tutorial are paper mache clay. You're probably not going to need a lot. I have more than what I need here because I'm working on some other things. So a little paper mache clay, depending on the extent of your damage, of course. You're going to need some paper mache paste, and all this is flour and water mixed to a consistency of like a thin pancake batter. You're going to need a paintbrush to help you smooth out the clay, and then some sort of tool to also help you smooth and spread the clay. And that's about it, so let's get going. So I'm going to start with this big guy first. He's got a pretty good crack, goes all the way down to the bottom here. And it's actually cracked all the way through the inside. I don't know if you could see that or not. Maybe a little. Anyway, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put some clay on the inside of this crack, and then I'll cover in the top exterior here. All right, so I'm just taking a chunk of my clay here, and I'm going to just start. Hopefully my head doesn't get in your way here. I'm just going to start applying it to the crack on the inside of the jack-o'-lantern sculpture. And because it's on the inside, I'm not going to worry about smoothing it out or anything like that, because it doesn't matter, because of course it's on the inside. I just want to make sure that I'm getting in there with a I don't know, maybe a quarter inch thickness of clay, and applying it into the crack and all around that crack in the interior, because that's going to strengthen it from that side of the sculpture as well as the front side of the sculpture. So I'm just kind of pressing it in there, making sure that it's sticking. Just like that. This guy fell off of a wooden crate that he was sitting on top of, and the wooden crate was sitting on top of a table outside during an art fair. And the wind picked up. Trying to show you that, but can't really see it. Anyway, I think you guys know what I mean by, you know, repairing that and what I did. Anyway, the wind picked up and it knocked him off because the table was the table wasn't level, so it was kind of leaning to begin with, and he took a tumble and landed on his face, and that's where I get this crack. Alright, so now I'm just going in with, again, some clay here. It's basically the same thing that I did on the inside is what I'm doing on the outside. Filling in that crack. It's a pretty good crack. I'm pressing it in and filling in the crack, as well as making sure there's some clay around and outside of the crack. Paper mache is extremely strong, but it is definitely not indestructible. So, you know, there will be times where you're unpacking your Halloween art or whatever it is, your Christmas piece that you made, that maybe you didn't pack it as well as you thought, and you take it out of the box for the season and you discover that it's broken. So that's a real drag. But it's okay because you can fix these things. All right, so I've got my clay on there. So now I'm going to come in with my my paintbrush. My paintbrush dipped in the paste, and I'm just going to dab it on like that. This is going to help it to just kind of smooth it out a little bit more. Make sure I'm getting all the way down to the bottom of where the crack is. So I've got a pretty good amount of the paste on there. So now I'm just going to come in here and just kind of smooth it over, blend it as best that I can. And when it dries, it should be good. Also, when it dries, it's getting a little messy there. I'm going to take a light piece of sandpaper and I'm going to sand over the edges where it didn't completely blend into the original sculpture to, you know, to make it a little more even. So if you're doing one of these, you're repairing one of these and you're like, oh man, it's not gonna come out right because it's a little bit thicker now or whatnot, don't even worry about that because you can fix that with a little bit of sandpaper. All right, this guy's done. I'm gonna go ahead and sit it in front of a fan so it can dry. Probably take, it's not very thick, so probably only take I'd probably wait a day. Let it sit in front of a fan for at least a day. And then you can try to rematch the paint. Oh, and I didn't notice this until right now, but I have a hairline crack right here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put some clay on that as well. With the paintbrush, I think the hardest part about repairing paper mache sculptures is matching your original paint that you put on it. For me, that's the hardest part anyway, trying to match it. If you have a hard time matching the paint, yeah, I mean, you may need to just paint the whole thing over. That one's done. I'm going to stick that in front of a fan. On this guy, the damage is a little more extensive. See what I mean here? So, I got my little mini hot glue gun out, and it's warming up here, heating up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some hot glue all the way in there and secure it that way first. And then after the hot glue dries, I'm going to go ahead and repair it with the paper mache clay. So again, just taking some of my clay, pressing it in. It's not rocket science, it's pretty easy. This one's probably going to be a real pain in the butt to match this paint because it has so many different colors of orange and brown, and there's some green in there. So that's going to be a challenge for me, but that's okay. Alright, I got my clay on there, and I'm going to go in once again with my paste. And then kind of smooth it in as best I can here. It's not going to matter that there's going to be a little ridge of clay, because again, I'm going to lightly sand it with a piece of sandpaper to get it to blend in a little bit better. I'm not terribly concerned about getting the clay that I'm applying on here very smooth, because this particular jack-o'-lantern has a lot of texture in it. So it's going to be fine. It'll look the same. Alright, done with that one. I'm going to again put that one in front of a fan and move on to the last one that I need to repair. Broken stem. So that came off. I'm just going to remove that. That was just a loose piece hanging on there. I'll leave the rest of it on. I think that's fine. I don't need to peel any more off. So, there is a small crack. It's cracked all the way around. So, I'm going to start with applying some clay on that inner crack there. Turn it. Make sure I get clay all the way around it. This was another one that at the same art fair, it got really windy. This one blew off of a shelf and took a tumble and landed on its stem. I do have tutorials on how to make the paper mache clay that I use 99% of the time in the studio. It is on our YouTube channel. But of course, you can also get pre-made paper mache clay that you just, you know, no fuss, no muss. Comes in packages, and all you have to do is add water to it, and those work great. So if you're only making a couple things, one or two small things, and you don't want to you don't want to deal with or have the hassle of making your own paper mache clay, that's probably the route to go. But if you are planning on making a lot of paper mache art using clay, it's more cost effective to make your own clay, because that pre-made stuff isn't exactly cheap when you're buying it in large amounts anyway. I'll put a link in the description of this video for that particular tutorial on how to make our studio clay. Like I said, that's the clay. This is the clay that we use about 99% of the time. I've used toilet paper clay in the past, and that works great too. But you know, it's not exactly cost effective either. And then, you know, during the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, you definitely weren't going to use your toilet paper to make paper mache clay. And again, I'm going to stick this in front of a fan, and I'm not really concerned about getting this completely smooth either, because there's a lot of texture on this stem. And when this dries, it'll dry really, really hard again, and then I'll go in and repaint the stem. Alright, thanks for watching. That's our tutorial on how to repair damaged or broken paper mache sculptures. Our next one is going to be a tips and tricks video on paper mache. And then after that, we have something really fun coming up. We're going to be filming a tutorial on trolls, how to make a troll. We'll be doing a Viking troll for the troll tutorial. Make it a little bit more elaborate. This guy right here, he's a Valentine troll. His name is Valentino. He's got his little heart there in his hand. They're really cool. I like him a lot. He's got some butt cheeks here. So that will be a tutorial coming up very soon as well. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one.